Hello everyone, I am Laethas and welcome back to another What's for Sale video. This, of course, being the series where I go over the new and ending series coming out in this month. This month, of course, being April 2018. And a quick update before we begin. I typically have gone in chronological order, except for this time, all of Yen Press stuff is going to be after the chronological order because they like to change their release dates all the time, and since I record these little bit towards the middle of the month, so I have time to edit. I am tired of stitching together audio to make sure it fits into the correct date, so yeah, Yen Press is going to be at the end, so I don't have to check the release dates every single time, you know, when I'm going to edit, and then cut audio, and then replace it somewhere else. But yeah, there should be some gameplay footage going on in the background as I cover the series that are coming out, but without further ado, let's go on ahead and get into the releases. Now, first off, for April 6th, we have Moteki, which is released by Vertical. These are 2-in-1 omnibus volumes. This first one I think is $19, and the second one I think is $21. I think this series is a little weird because it is in Japan as 4.5 volumes, which is kind of strange. So I'm guessing the first volume is slightly thinner than the second volume, but this is a seinen series by the same person that worked on Yuri on Ice, or the co-creator of Yuri on Ice. And it sort of involves a guy that has never really been popular, and all of a sudden he gets a bunch of phone calls from a bunch of girls. Yeah, seems like a seinen, like rom-com or harem comedy type thing coming out, and it's a new series released by Vertical, so always nice to see Vertical releasing new series. Next up, we have Kenka Bancho Otome Girl Beats Boy, which is a 2-volume series. This is the first volume, put out by Viz under their Shoujo Beat imprint. This is like all their other manga on that in that line, going to be $10 per volume, and it's about a girl that ends up going to an all-boys school because her, I think, younger, maybe it's her older brother, I don't know, doesn't want to go, so she's like, fine, I'll see what it's all about, and so she ends up there. At least I think that's what this one's about. But yeah, it's only 2 volumes long, so I believe it's just a short reverse harem series shoujo thing, so if you're into that, this might be a series for you to check out, especially since it is so short, and the cost is very, very tiny compared to most manga series. And last up, on the 6th, we have the 21st and final volume of Assassination Classroom. This series, of course, put out by Viz Media under their Shonen Jump Advanced imprint, and again, a $10 volume. This has been a long series that have been going on for a while. It had, I believe, 2 anime adaptations. I want to say both were 26, 25 episode seasons. I know they were each, or I think they were each 2 cores. But yeah, if you've been enjoying Assassination Classroom, that series will be coming to an end very, very shortly. So yeah. Next up, on the 10th, we have My Boy, put out by Vertical for $13 a volume, and this is a seinen series dealing with a 30-year-old woman who kind of is taking care of this 12-year-old boy, but you know, I may be going in a romantic direction, so we've got like this massive age gap romance thing that might end up be going on. I'm not entirely sure what direction the series is going to take. There are only 4 volumes out in Japan as of now, so there isn't a whole lot of information out about the series, but it is another Vertical title, another new Vertical release, so if you're into more of a, you know, you want more of a seinen romance, or you like age gap romance type things, this might be a series to look out for. Next up on the 10th, we have Itsuwari Bito Volume 23, the final volume of that series, put out by Viz Media under their Shonen Sunday imprint, which is, you know, a unique and interesting imprint, and that is another $10 volume. Now, I don't know a whole lot about Utsuwari Bito, but it does involve a kid who likes to make mischief, and he likes to lie a lot. And it's sort of how he uses, like, he's gotten really good at lying, and then he, like, being a mischief maker. And he's like, I'm going to use my skills and my talents to sort of help people. So, you know, that's my knowledge of the series, but it is a shonen series that I haven't heard too much about, but it is coming to an end this April 10th. And next up, moving on to the 17th of the month, we have Imperfect Girl Volume 3, which is the final volume of the Imperfect Girl series, put out by Vertical for $13 a volume. And this is the seinen manga series based off of the Nisio Isin light novel of the same name. So if you're a big Nisio Isin fan, then this series seems like one that you would enjoy, or at the very least want to pick up, especially considering it's only a 3-volume series, which is very, very short. And then next up, we have Fairy Tail S Volume 2, which is the last volume of the Fairy Tail S series. I think this is just a bunch of short stories, of course released by Kodansha for $11 a volume, but yeah, it's just more fairy tale, just shorter stories, not so much involving the main story, just like, ooh, this is a wacky fun side story that went on, that kind of thing. So if you really like fairy tale and you're a big completionist, or you just kind of want to read some fun sort of stories involving the fairy tale cast, then this is a short 2-volume series that you should enjoy, of course, in Kodansha's standard size for $11 a volume. Next up, we have Wotakoi, or Love is Hard for Otaku, which is a series put out by Kodansha Comics. And these are put together in 2-in-1 omnibus volumes for $18 a volume. And this is a josei sort of romance story, and it involves the relationship between two otaku. They were big, huge otaku in high school, and it's several years later, and they have, you know, reunited in the workplace, and it sort of is dealing with their relationship with one another, and sort of, you know, their otaku nature sort of playing into that. So if you're looking for a new josei, because we don't get a whole lot of those, or you're looking for a romance story, this seems like a fun, new, interesting series that is coming out. And also, it is getting an anime adaptation this spring season, so if you aren't sure whether or not you want to get into the manga, there is the anime to check out to see, you know, do you enjoy the aesthetics and sort of the tropes that are going into the series. And next up, we have Inio Asano's Dead Demons Destruction. I think that's the right number of didadas, but yeah, that is a $15 volume under Viz Media's Viz signature imprint. This is a seinen series by Inio Asano. I probably don't need to say much else beyond that, considering it is an Inio Asano work, which means it is likely going to be somewhat similar to his other works, and he is a very, very popular mangaka. I personally love just about every single one of his works that I've read. So, you know, if you're an Inio Asano fan and you are starved for more physical English releases, I have good news for you, because on the 17th, another one of his series is being published. Next up, for the 17th, we have World's End Harem, put out by 7 Seas under their Ghost Ship imprint for $13 a volume. Now, this is a shonen series that is an ecchi harem. And basically, what ends up happening is it's in the future, and for whatever reason, the male-to-female ratio is really screwed up, so there aren't very many males, and there are a ton of females, and so weird things end up going on for the guys that are around. But yeah, this appears to be a shonen antique ecchi harem sort of style comedy series. Probably has some romance or love triangle, love pentagon, polygon, whatever you want to call it, going on in there. So if that is your kind of thing, or you would like to support 7 Seas' new Ghost Ship imprint, that is another series for you to check out. Moving on to the 24th of the month, we have the last volume of the Hatsune Miku Future Delivery which is only a 2-volume Vocaloid series, so you probably already know if you're interested in it. Hatsune Miku, that kind of thing. It is an $11 volume. You know, it's a Vocaloid series, so, you know, if you're into the Vocaloid sort of lore and stories involving Hatsune Miku and other Vocaloids, then this is probably a series you're going to want to check out. Again, I can't attest to the quality of the series and the writing itself, but it is a Vocaloid series put out by Dark Horse for $11, and it's only 2 volumes, so very small investment if you decide to go and pick this one up. And that will do it for the chronological releases, and now I get to move into Yen Press, which I'm not going to state the dates because they're going to change most likely by the time I have to edit this, and I would have to move things around, which I'm not too keen on doing. But first off, we have Though You May Burn to Ash for $13 a volume. I've said this so many freaking times, it's unbelievable because it was supposed to come out in either January or February, but it has been pushed back. Maybe it'll be pushed back again, I have no idea. But this is about a guy that is given sort of a, like, he's entered into a weird death game type thing, but, you know, he gets gender bent, so he's a girl in this new game, and he's got to do a bunch of, you know, crazy, wacky stuff, though I'm not sure if it's more in the edge direction or the comedy direction. I think it's more of a darker toned series, more of a thriller aspect than the comedy aspect. But it is an ecchi series, so do keep in mind there is lots of fan service going on in this series. Next up, we have the first volume of Napping Princess. I believe this is just 2-volume manga. I'm not sure if it's based on the anime film or if the manga was used to make the Napping Princess film or if the novel was used. It's Napping Princess and the manga version of that story. And I do believe it's 2 volumes at $13 a piece. So if you really like that film, or you like to read the manga before watching the film, you know, Yen Press is publishing this series for you. Next up, we have another 2-volume series, Monster Tamer Girls, another $13 volume by Yen Press, and this appears to be just another cute girls doing cute things, sort of manga story style thing, slice of lifey thing, but it's girls taking care of giant monsters. So imagine like Monster Hunter, but instead of hunting monsters, it's cute girls taking care of giant monsters that want to kill you. But I don't think they want to kill the girls, I think they're just giant monsters and that makes them intimidating, and then the girls go and feed them, tame them, that kind of thing is what it seems to be. So if you're into either of those two aesthetics, you might want to pick this up, especially if that combination intrigues you. Then you might want to go pick this up. Next up, we have Mermaid Boys. This is a shoujo series involving mermaid boys. Yeah, so, you know, it is probably going to be, you know, what you imagine from a mermaid story. So we have a mermaid man falling in love with a human girl, and comedy and romance ensue from that point on. So if you're into, you know, fish people or that kind of aesthetic, dealing with more fantastical elements in sort of a romance shoujo type series, this is a series that you might want to be checking out. Again, it is released by Yen Press for $13 a volume. Next up, we have The Elder Sister-like One, put out by Yen Press for $13 a volume. Hopefully this release date doesn't change for, I don't know how many times it's been, but it's about a guy that finds this demon in the woods, and she says, "I will grant you whatever wish you want," and he says, "Be my big sister," and so the demon becomes his sister. I think they live together, and she sort of is a caretaker, I want to say, not in like a Ancient Magus Bride sense, but more like she's running the household, I want to say, but I'm not certain on that. But anyway, it's this guy living with this demon that has taken the form of a big sister, and there's probably going to be some romance aspect involving that. And I should note that there is some fan service in this series if that is something that you find detracts from the experience. Next up, we have the second volume and the final volume of Magical Girl Raising Project. This is the manga series. If you've seen the anime, you likely know what's going on. It's a Madoka-esque Magical Girl series, so more dark tone, but it's sort of like a battle royale death game type. There are too many Magical Girls. We need to get rid of them, and the way we're going to get rid of them is they're going to get murdered and they're going to die. So if you want to watch Magical Girls kill each other, or you're into that edgy sort of battle royale fight to the death type thing, this is a series you might want to look into, and it is $13 a volume, though keep a note that this is based off of a light novel and this is not the original work. Next up, we have the third and final volume of the Your Name manga, another $13 volume by Yen Press. It's the Your Name manga adaptation, so of course based off the wildly successful film Your Name by Makoto Shinkai, or Kimi no Na wa. So you likely already know if you want to be picking this work up, considering it is that popular, and I probably don't need to say much else beyond that. Next up, we have the 10th and final volume of the Strike the Blood manga. This is another $13 volume. Though the light novel that this is based off of is still ongoing, so I'm not sure how those two sort of interact, or, you know, where each one is going. So I can't really vouch for how faithful it is to the light novel or where it ends in the light novel. Though there is an anime adaptation, or several anime adaptations of Strike the Blood. So if you've seen those and you enjoyed this, you may want to look into this series. It is only 10 volumes long, which is sort of in that mid-range of series that's not really short, but it's not really long either. Though this is, keep in mind, this is an ecchi series with some fan service and some harem aspects, though I do believe the main pair is pretty heavily focused on, as opposed to outside characters being a part of the harem. It's more so just the main relationship, I think, that is focused on. But yeah, that is the manga adaptation of the light novel coming to a conclusion. And next up, we have a 4-koma series, As Miss Beelzebub Likes, another $13 volume by Yen Press. And this is about a guy that has worked his way up in the ranks of the demon world, and he finally gets to be sort of the right-hand man to the demon lord, or the demon king, or whatever, and the Demon King is not who he expected it would be, and it is Miss Beelzebub, who is this, I want to say, teenage-esque figure girl, late teens, like 16-esque, I want to say is what her figure is roughly like, and it's mostly involving the interaction between those two, and the comedy that ensues because of that. This is a 4-koma series, so keep that in mind. 4 panels, usually 3 to set up a joke, and the 4th panel usually is the punchline. So, you know, if you're into 4-koma, this is another 4-koma focusing sort of fantasy or supernatural characters and setting, that kind of thing. But yeah, this is a 4-koma put out by Yen Press. If you like your 4-koma, then this is another one for you to look into. And last up for the Yen Press manga, we have Of the Red, the Light, and the Ayakashi Volume 10. The final volume of that series for $13 volume. Now, keep in mind, I do believe the series goes from 1 to 9 and is complete, and then 10. Volume 10 is just like extra stories or side stories. I think it's similar in that way to Bunny Drop. Yeah, if you've been enjoying Of the Red, the Light, and the Ayakashi, there is an extra volume, Volume 10, with, I want to say, side stories and that kind of thing. So if you really like the lore of the series, you might want to be looking into this final volume. But now that we've done all of that, I'm going to very quickly go over all of the notable releases coming out this month. On the 3rd, we have the 11th volume of Yona of the Dawn, probably the most popular shoujo series currently. being released in English. Next up, we have the 22nd volume of Haikyuu, the most popular sports series currently releasing in English. The 3rd volume of The Promised Neverland, the news series that has everyone super hyped, and from what I hear, certainly lives up to it, though I haven't actually taken a look at it myself. We have the 23rd volume of Food Wars coming out. I hear that is a fantastic series, sort of mixing shonen battle tropes with food and cooking food. And last up on the 3rd, we have the 12th volume of Hero Aka, or My Hero Academia, Boku no Hero Academia, however you want to call it. This is a very, very smash hit series that has blown up recently. Already has had 2 anime seasons air, and a 3rd, I believe, airing this spring, or if it's not this spring, it is airing very, very soon. But all those volumes are $10 a piece, and they're all released by Viz Media. Moving on to the 10th, we have To Your Eternity, Volume 4. The new series by Yoshitoki Oima, I want to say, is the mangaka's name. She is, of course, the writer and illustrator of A Silent Voice, one of my personal favorite series, and a series that is well-liked and well-loved and has gotten a lot of praise since its release. Next up, we have the 24th volume of Attack on Titan, another smash hit. Shonen series, though, I think it has waned in its popularity, though there's still a 3rd season of the anime that's been announced. 2, of course, have already aired, one being 2 cores, the second being 1 core. And last up, on the 10th, we have the 29th volume of Manga, another very big, popular shonen series, this one run under Viz Media's Shonen Sunday imprint. Probably don't have to say too much about that series. It has had 2 core anime series air, with a prequel series, Magi, The Adventures of Sinbad, also having aired. But To Your Eternity is a $13 volume, Attack on Titan is an $11 volume, and Magi is a $10 volume. Magi being released by Viz, and the other 2 titles being released by Kodansha. And to wrap up the notables, on the 17th, we have the 4th volume of Tokyo Ghoul Re, of course, the sequel series to Tokyo Ghoul, the 14-volume long series that was very much hyped, and a lot of people love. And this is just the continuation of that series, which also happens to have an anime series launching this spring season. So if you loved Tokyo Ghoul, there's a new anime for it, and we're on the 4th volume of the manga, though Volume 15 is out in Japan, so we are still quite many volumes behind, but, you know, I do see us catching up in the future, but that is a $13 volume released by Viz Media under their signature imprint. But that'll be all for the manga. Now to move into the light novels and novels coming out. First off, we have the $15 volume Perfect Blue Awaken from a Dream, put out by 7 Seas on the 24th. Now this is a spin-off or side story to the Perfect Blue novel, and the Perfect Blue novel I read and I did enjoy. It was very interesting to see how much different the novel was from the film, so I'm very excited to see sort of where the Awaken from a Dream spin-off sort of goes. But yeah, that is a $15 volume that will be coming out on the 24th by 7 Seas. We have the Kabuki Monogatari volume of the Monogatari series coming out on the 24th as well. This is a $16 volume put out by Vertical. If you've been enjoying the Monogatari series and have loved its releases in English, you are going to be very pleased to know that the series is still being printed by Vertical, and you can pick up a copy of Kabuki Monogatari on the 24th. Next up, we have I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 Years. This is another light novel. Well, of course it's a light novel, but it's put out by Yen Press on the 24th for $14 a volume, and this appears to be another isekai series that we've been seeing a lot recently in you know, the last couple of years. So if you're really into that, you might want to try looking into this one. And last up, we have Reborn as a Vending Machine, I Now Wander the Dungeon. which at this point you know that they're grasping at straws, and people are coming up with the most ludicrous ideas they can possibly come up with to make a story. So I'm not sure how interesting or how well this this one executes on its premise, but that is being released by Yen Press on the 24th for $14 a volume. So based on the premise, if the author is knows what they're doing, I can see this being very, very interesting and funny story. But you never know when it comes to all the stuff that's coming out now, with so many of it being released. But yeah, that will do it for this What's for Sale video. If I made any errors, or you think I should have included something, have any recommendations for future sort of formats or that kind of thing, let me know that in the comments down below. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and share. If you like to keep up to date with all my content, you can hit that subscribe button. Or if you would like to follow me on Twitter, there's a link to that in the description down below. And if you have any other sort of ideas, thoughts, opinions, maybe you've read some of these series, or you know someone who has, and leaving your recommendations, what should people be picking up this month, you can leave those, as well as any other thoughts of yours down in the comments down below as well. But anyway, that'll be all for this What's for Sale video for April 2018. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Laethas. Goodbye. Moving on to the 24th of the month, finally, so long as it doesn't get pushed back again and I don't have to edit this one out, is the Sailor Moon Eternal Edition.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!